What is going on, everybody? My name is XrayCosmo and welcome back to another Overwatch video. So today we are doing the traditional tier list we do every single season when a new season comes out. Today is currently the first day of the season as of recording, but this will probably be up the second day. But as I'm recording this, we actually just got a load of buffs and nerfs, so that might affect this tier list a little bit compared to others who have uploaded before me. So this one actually is updated more. It is my opinion, so please don't come at me in the comments, or if you disagree with something crazy. You know, if we can use some constructive criticism, if that would work, instead of screaming at each other in the comments, because these videos, these tier list videos do seem to get everyone a little bit heated. So yeah, look out for that if you're gonna go roaming in the comments for this one. Also, before I start, a large percentage of you who watch are actually not subscribed, so if you do find yourself enjoying my videos, then please do subscribe. It really helps my channel, and also don't forget to hit that like button. Now, enough rambling, let's get into the tier list. So the meta has actually changed a ton as more recent experimental patches are put out more frequently, and I'm actually super excited for the meta we're in right now. It used to be Ball Sig. That was the main meta. Everyone played Ball Sig for tank wise and meta wise. The tanks really define the meta, but now after that big Sig nerf, we actually have shifted into more of a rush comp meta, which I personally love, which is like Ryan Zarya. So enough rambling, as I said, and let's get into this. So I usually just do everything randomly, but I'm gonna actually do it in roles this time. So starting with tank, then DPS and heals. I'm gonna have them split up in the video in like the chat with the chapter feature thingy, so you guys can skip to whenever you want. So yeah, so let's get started. We're starting off with Ryan, and honestly, Ryan in this meta I think is actually pretty meta defining. He is a great hero. After the buffs that we've gotten and the heroes that are just played around him, they work super well, especially with this rush comp. Ryan is really good for a rush comp. So yeah, dive isn't as strong, which is really Winston's main pursuit, so I don't want to put him in solid heroes. Maybe like okay sometimes I think would work for Winston. I don't think he's that good, but like he's not trash. Like he is still playable if you play the correct comp, so that's why I'm gonna leave him there. Bubble's good. His ult's like good for stalling, whatever you want to use it for, but I wouldn't play him as a top pick for the this season. Along with D.Va, a lot of people like D.Va, but this is my tier list, as I said before, and I don't think D.Va is that good compared to other heroes, especially in the future, seeing what other heroes we have up here. So I am gonna put D.Va with Winston over here, just because I don't think she's that good compared to the other tanks. Like, she's on level with Winston, which is good because they are both dive heroes. So hopefully she'll get a buff in the future, because I know a lot of people love playing dive. That is also one of my favorite metas, honestly, anything but ball. So yeah, Sigma is up next. Now Sig is a tricky one because he's been getting played around with a lot, and he used to be S tier. He used to be super meta defining. He was the best hero to play, and then he got his 2.5 second shield nerf, and if you didn't know, that really kind of knocked him down within the meta. But not as many people are playing him, but I do think that he's probably on level with Winston and D.Va. I think he's on level with them. I don't think he's solid heroes just because of these other heroes. I think most of the tanks are actually pretty balanced right now. Tank is like a role that needs to be fixed a lot. That we learned that from the Overwatch 2 panel, but I do think that Sigma belongs there. I don't think he should go any lower or any higher unless he gets buffs. He did just get a new buff on the experimental patch, but it's not too crazy. It's just half a second, so it might make him a little better. He was on I think he was pretty trash before that 2-second buff, so I'll leave him there. I think he deserves that spot. Next up, we have Wrecking Ball. Now, Wrecking Ball, he did get nerfed, but not as hard as Sig got nerfed, and he was pretty meta defining. So I do think that Wrecking Ball is going to be put in solid heroes. I don't think he's meta defining up there with Ryan, just because he can mess up Ryan Zarya a little bit, but I don't think he messes it up as much as people think he does, especially with like some of the DPS we're seeing being super meta for this season. So yeah, I think he belongs in solid heroes. Grappling Hook's still good. He can still bump everyone around if he needs to, and the team isn't coordinated. So I don't want to put him in meta defining, as I said, but I do think he belongs in solid heroes. Next up is the Russian Zarya, and Zarya is clearly meta defining. She actually did just get a nerf in the most recent experimental patch today, but I don't think it's going to affect her that much. Maybe a little bit of DPS shaved down, but kind of going to be reminding me of Tracer's nerf, where people thought it was going to do a lot, and then it didn't really do much because you're not playing Tracer like that anyway. They didn't change how she gains charge or how fast she gets grav, so I do think she is still meta defining up there with Ryan. Next up is Orisa. Now, Orisa, I honestly, I don't know where to put Orisa. I think my best bet would have to be to put Orisa with the rest of these tanks because she doesn't really have a spot in this meta. I mean, you don't really want to play her with Ryan, and Hog isn't that good. Well, like he's not as good as he used to be, so I don't think he's up there with Ryan and Zarya. And like getting onto Hog next, I do think I'm going to put him in Solid Heroes because even though Orisa's down here, I do think Hog can survive a little bit more on his own, whereas Orisa kind of needs Hog or a tank duo that fits her well, or Zarya, to like actually work. So I think those spots for them, for the tanks right now, are pretty good actually. Most of them are in okay, but I think if you just play Ryan Zarya, everyone's gonna have a fun time anyway. I don't think anyone really wants to see balls in their game, so yeah. People who like Sigma Ball are just average Sig Ball meta mains. I'm an epic Ryan Zarya enjoyer, so yeah. That's where I'm gonna leave on the tanks. Now, starting off really fucking shit, to be honest, with the DPS, because Bastion is still terrible. I still think Bastion needs a rework. It's not, he hasn't gotten any better since any buffs. I don't think, honestly, I think he needs a full rework for like Overwatch 2 for him to be saved, because every single tier list he's just placed in the bottom and he doesn't work with like anything. Next up is Junkrat. Now, Junkrat is also a tricky one because it depends really against the team you're playing with, but I still think he's a solid hero, and Riptire is a pretty good ult if you know how to use it correctly. I mean, it can be like a noob ult, but like at the same time, if you're in a high rank and people can actually like aim, it's kind of hard to use. So I want to put him in solid heroes. I don't think he's definitely not meta defining, but I don't think he's okay because I think you can play him unless Pharah is around, which is who we're getting to next. Pharah actually just got a buff along with some other heroes Sigma mentioned before in this most recent experimental patch. So I do think Pharah, I don't know where to put her really. I think I could put her in solid heroes. I don't think she's too trash, but I think she actually, you know what, I'm gonna put her in okay, just because I do think she can be situational because of some of the DPS that I'm gonna be putting in S tier that I know are gonna be up there because of this meta. So yeah, so far I'm gonna leave in okay sometimes. She's very situational, along with like Winston and Diva, situational for who the other team is playing. Torb's really been in the same spot, especially with Rush comp being meta. I do think he can be going to pretty trash, but once again, it really depends on the team comp of him varying between B and C. But I am gonna put him in C just because I don't think Turret works too well against Rush comp when everyone's literally just bum rushing at like 100 miles per hour, just killing everything instantly. He doesn't really hold up too well against that, so that's why I'm gonna put him in C. Reaper is a tricky one because usually Reaper is pretty trash, but now that we're in Brawl comp and everyone's coming up fast, close range, and he just did get another buff on top of his other buff that we got a few weeks ago or last week. I don't remember when it was, but you guys know what I'm talking about, the spread buff that lets him shoot a little bit farther. He just got a damage buff, so I do want to put him in solid heroes. I don't think he is S because you can't really play him constantly, but in this meta, I think he is a very important hero. I think he's going to be working out pretty well through this season, so he's going to be a pick you want to look out for. He's either going to be like really good or really trash, so we'll see where the nerfs and buffs take him. Next up is Mei. Mei also just got another buff in this experimental card, so where do I want to put her? I don't think she is meta defining, neither is she solid, but I don't want to put her in trash. Just because we have Ball and Solid Heroes, he still is being played, and if you play Mei a little bit correctly against the right team comp, she can actually be pretty good. So I do want to put Mei, maybe with Pharah, situational once again. I'll leave her there. Her ult's good. She just got a healing buff in her cube, so yeah. I think, once again, another hero deserving of their spot. Sombra. Now, Sombra, I honestly think Sombra is a very good hero if you know how to play her, but I don't think she is meta defining. I mean, a big hack can help out a lot, especially in this meta, but I don't think she's really situational now if you have a team that's good and you can actually like play her correctly. So I want to put Sombra in solid heroes. I always get a little bit of hate on the Sombra and Reaper picks just because I usually either put them pretty high or pretty low. I think they're going to work out well in this meta, so that's why I'm going to leave them in solid heroes. I don't think they're situational. I think you could really play them whenever you want because of the tanks being played. A hacked Rhine is pretty useless, especially if you don't have a good Zarya that can bubble you immediately. So yeah. Next up, Doomfist. Doomfist is still trash. I don't think he's good, especially for the comps that we're seeing where everyone's close up together and he can't really do much. Everyone just kind of barrages him with bullets as soon as he falls in, especially with all the CC and stuns we're seeing with Bubble and Hook and all that stuff. Junkrat, Reaper, everyone can just get up close to him. Sombra can hack him. Doomfist is still pretty trash, so I'm just gonna leave him there. Widow, once again, used to be a super meta defining hero. Worst meta ever, by the way. I fucking hated that meta so much. I think that was one of the worst metas there's ever been, because there is nothing worse than playing against a good Widow. It is really annoying. It is really, really annoying. So I'm happy to put Widow in okay sometimes. I think she is situational depending on the other team. I don't think she is trash yet, but please nerf this hero into the ground. I do not give a single flying shit about her. Sim, once again, I don't think works too well as the bum rush comp, kind of just destroys her. I mean, if you have turrets placed correctly, they can be just destroyed really quickly, and I mean, they may be able to do something against some low level players, but I don't think she's going to be doing too much this meta, so I'm going to put her in pretty trash. Genji is up next, one of my favorite heroes in the entire game, and this hurts me a lot to do, this hurts me to put him in pretty trash. He just got another nerf to his Dragon Blade, which was pretty much his only good ability. Genji, every time they overtune him, everyone complains, and I don't get it. Maybe I just don't get it because I play Genji, but he did get a little bit of a buff, but I don't think it's going to change anything. Even if he honestly didn't get this nerf, I think he would still be in pretty trash just because he's not that good of a hero. So yeah, that's why he's there. Pretty much can't do anything without Nano, so it is what it is. Tracer. I think Tracer is one of the best heroes in the entire game. She is not OP, but not bad. She is perfectly balanced, and she has one of the highest skill caps in the entire game. Even though I talked about that nerf she got before, I don't think it affected her that much, so that's why I'm leaving her in meta defining. I think she still works with this brawly type comp because of the healers that are being played, and I'll get into that later when I'm doing the healers, but it's basically because we're not seeing as much Brig is why Tracer can be played a lot more. I think she's pretty much been S tier for her entire career. She's never been bad. So I think Tracer is still deserving of the S tier spot. I've given it to her pretty much every time, I'm pretty sure. So yeah. Soldier, another hero that I don't think is as good as he was just because of this bum rush comp style. I don't think he's trash. I think he still can do some stuff, so I want to put him in okay with these other DPS. I think that's a good spot for him. His ult, I mean, it's not the best, and his abilities are like pretty lackluster compared to like other things we can get value out of in this meta. So I think he is staying in okay sometimes. He doesn't really deserve anything higher or lower. I think it's the perfect spot. Ashe is another great hero. I don't think she's meta defining, but she can be a very, very strong hero when paired up with certain heal comps. So I want to put her in solid heroes, and the reason I'm not putting her in meta defining just because of the comp style that's being played the most in the highest ranks, because you can just really just get on top of her. I mean, if she has a good healer along on her side, she is pretty like unkillable if it's a really good Ashe, but most of the time I think teams are going to be coordinated enough to kill her, but I don't think she's a situational pick. I think you really can play her whenever. I just don't think she's meta defining. Now, it gives me a great, It gives me a great honor to do this, but it's finally happened, ladies and gentlemen. Since we are back in Rhine Zarya meta, the best DPS in the current meta is McCree, and as you guys know, if you don't know, actually, I'm a huge McCree fanboy. I'm a McCree main, so that brings me a lot of joy to put McCree in S tier, because I've been waiting to do that for a long time. His stun works really well with the rush style comp. Everything is just close up with him. He can put out a load of DPS. I mean, his ult isn't the best, but he's still a pretty meta defining hero, and I think he is the best hero in this DPS comp, or in this rush style comp, so that's why I'm leaving him in S tier. None of you can tell me anything different. McCree deserves it this time, and I'm leaving him up there. Next up is Hanzo, and this might actually surprise a lot of you guys, but I am going to be putting Hanzo in S tier because I think he pairs up very well with the comp style, especially with Zarya. Dragon Grav is one of the oldest combos in the book, and I think it still is one of the best combos, especially even with healers like BAP like stopping that. So because of that, he is getting S tier. As long with Echo, I think it also deserves S tier. She is a very, very good hero. I think she is still one of the best heroes in the entire game. She is still overtuned in my opinion. I think she deserves a little bit of a nerf because of like things that can like enable her to do more. But other than that, there's not really much more to say about Echo. She's just overall a good hero, and I think she also works pretty well with this comp if you know how to play her. So yeah. On to the healers now. Zenyatta used to be a really, really good healer, and I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he's meta defining anymore. I do want to put Zenyatta up here because I do think he can work well with this comp, but it might not always be the best. And Zenyatta being here, like being so high up compared to these other heroes, I do think that Tracer is enabled by that, and that is another reason why Tracer, like I said before, Brig isn't being played as much, but I do think she is still one of the best heroes in the game, by the way. Yeah, don't mistake that. I do think she is still good, but I mean, Tracer is enabled by these heroes being picked, so that is another reason why I put Tracer up here. But Zenyatta, I just don't think he's meta defining, but he's still pretty good. I think if you pick him, you would be fine, honestly. But it's not like a Moira pick. Moira is just a terrible hero. But yeah, so I'm just gonna stop rambling about Zen and get on to the next hero. Next up is BAP. Now, I've been being pretty generous with the S tier, but I think totally deserving is BAP. Immortality is probably the best ability in the entire game. It is practically broken. I think they need to change something about it. I don't know what they need to do. I want suggestions in the comments below of what they can change with Immortality, because it's so powerful. Like, it's one of the biggest reasons that BAP is up there. And I just think BAP is super good. His whole kit just is an enabler, especially for Rush. Now that we have Immortality, it's just making Rush a lot more powerful. Along with Brig, I'm going to put him in S tier because with this Rush comp, she can be pretty good. Brig isn't played as much as I think other people think she is, but I do think she is still a very good hero. Even though Tracer's up here, she doesn't do as much to Tracer as she used to do because she did get her nerfs, but I do think she is still a little bit overtuned. Brig is just, obviously, we all know Brig's a really good hero, and she practically deserves to stay up there always, unless she gets some big nerf. So I think with this Rush style comp, I need to get a counter on the video for how many times I've said Rush style comp, just because the whole meta is really just going around Zarya and Rein, which I love, honestly. I love that tank duo. But yeah, Brig plays pretty well with them, so we'll see where that takes us if we see any nerfs or buffs coming in the few weeks. Ana, once again, I don't think she's meta defining, but I do think she is a solid hero up there with Zen. Zenyatta and Ana kind of have like the same sort of situation where they work with Rush comp, but they're not ideal. Like, you don't need them. Whereas we'll see other healers here that more focusing on Lucio that you need in this Rush style comp for it to work. Getting onto Moira, I'm going to stop rambling about Ana. But yeah, that's where Ana stays. I don't think she deserves. I don't think she's meta defining, and I don't think she's okay, so I think that's a good spot. Moira is really trash. I will never let anyone tell me that Moira is good. Everyone gets so mad in my comments. All you Moira mains get so mad when I put Moira down here. I think she is Bastion level bad. I mean, she's playable in lower ranks, but I think in higher ranks where you have these comps, it's not gonna work. And that's all I have to say about Moira. You guys can whine in the comments all you want. I really don't care what you have to say, so yeah. Now, next up is Lucio. Now, Lucio is infamous for being low on my tier list, but this is the first time that I'm actually going to put Lucio up here with meta defining, because I think he is a very big part of the Rush style comp, especially played with BAP. And actually, you know what? I'm actually going to move Brig down here because Even though I think Brig is good, I think Lucio and Bap is really just the main healer combo you want to play for this. So yeah, there's not much more to say. The speed is just really good for the rush comp. It always has been since the first day we got this rush style comp. So he's staying up there. He's not moving down. I don't care what any of you have to say. The healers are always the most controversial in my opinion in the comments of my videos when I make these. So we'll see where the comments take us, like I said before. Last but not least is Mercy. Now I don't think Mercy's actually that good anymore. Res is still one of the best abilities in the game, and I really don't know whether to put her in solid heroes or okay sometimes. Because I think Echo is S tier, I do want to put her in solid heroes. I think that's a good spot for her because she is very powerful with Echo, and I think because of that it makes her up a little bit, keeping her out of okay sometimes. If Echo wasn't so high up, if Echo was in solid heroes, I think she would be in okay sometimes, but Mercy really plays around what DPS are played, so that's why I want to put her there. Did you guys like my tier list? Let me know in the comments what you think about it, whether you think it's good, bad, what you think should be switched around, or what you think is definitely correct and should stay. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, it helps the channel out a lot, and subscribe if you want more gaming content and news, and that bell as well so you can see all my videos when they first come out. Also, if you want a shout out at the end of the video, leave a comment and you can get picked for that. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.